Okay. So I see that you're live. Do you have to invite me to it or do I ask to join?
You can ask to join, but I can also invite you. Okay, now.
Oh, there we go. Request to join.
Okay.
Okay.
Accept. Okay, so good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Suzanne, and good morning, everyone. I am so delighted. Okay, also sometimes the echo again, so
I'm
maybe
going
I
to turn
can
off the volume on my phone.
lower your
Sorry.
volume.
Okay.
Okay, great. So I'm so delighted to be here this morning with you and also to have an opportunity to have a conversation about the upcoming yoga therapy course that we are running together. So Suzanne is my special guest, and the course is yoga therapy for new moms. So we'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like and the structure of the course and what that even means. But first, I'll introduce myself, and then Suzanne, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and your practice. So I'm Danielle Tarantola from Yoga Foundation. We are in Huntington Station in New York. I've been practicing since 1998, and we are a yoga therapy center. So we don't function like a yoga therapy studio. I'm sorry, a yoga studio, which is the primary means via which people are engaging with yoga practices in the current times and have been for decades here in the US now. We are a yoga therapy center. So most of the people who come in to see us are aware that yoga can be helpful and also have something specific, some specific needs or specific goals that they are looking to address through the practices of yoga. So we work together with the care seeker who comes in to develop personalized home-based protocols that progress over time and support the ever evolving needs of each individual. And so that's our primary work. We also run regular teacher training programs and have yoga therapy groups, which is something new we started to do last year. And that is how I connected with you, Suzanne, because you are going to be my guest. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your practice? Please introduce yourself.
Sure. So I'm Suzanne Cohen, and I'm an occupational therapist, which is a very, very broad occupation. Occupational therapists can work in hospitals with geriatric patients, stroke rehab. I mean, any upper extremity rehab. They can work in schools. They can work in a huge array of places. And I have chosen, along with a few other occupational therapists, it's not a big niche yet, to work in maternal health. And so I work in maternal mental health. And then there are OTs that do pelvic floor therapy in maternal health. So I work with new moms primarily, some pregnant moms, but I really work on their activities of daily living. That's what OTs really focus on. It's all the things that you do all day, from eating and sleeping, to your work and to your leisure activities. Those are very important to OTs, making sure we address those things you enjoy. And it was really brought on by my own experience becoming a mother and realizing that I needed some help when I became a mom. And I thought,
Right.
oh, OTs can do this. So I went on to get my certification in perinatal mental health, and I work in women's homes. Um, During COVID, I do a lot of virtual sessions, but primarily I like to go to women's homes, see how they're set up, really get a sense of their environment, because it really helps in our plan of care.
Yeah, that's such a so I was sharing with you that even though I am familiar with occupational therapy, I never knew that there was a perinatal specialty. And so as a result, I've never been able to introduce my student population to this as an asset, as a, I want to say an essential, I really want to say an essential part of the postpartum experience, because there's so much build up during pregnancy and so much anticipation. And whether it's your first child, your second child, your third child, once the baby is born, there's a great degree of chaos that ensues. And so much of what you're doing seems to go along with what yoga therapy is doing, in that it's setting up the mom for successful experiences internally, because that's really the basis of successful mothering. It doesn't start with how we are addressing or what we are addressing outside of us. It starts with what we need to address within us. And as many of our viewers may know, that there is a strong association with the postpartum experience and anxiety, and with the postpartum experience and depression. And what I find, or what I found for myself, is that a daily ritual that I did with my own self that didn't change, I was anchored in this daily ritual every day, supported me as I weathered intense changes. So we all as new moms weather intense emotional and hormonal changes. Emotions and hormones, yoga believes, are just completely connected. You cannot separate them. And so it helped me to weather those changes, but also the really unexpected changes that I experienced in my home life, and with my child who had a serious emergency as an infant, and having myself grounded in a daily practice is the reason that I was able to endure and thrive after some time through the period of new motherhood, through the postpartum period. And so what I'm trying to accomplish through the course that we do, and it's been largely successful, is walk new moms through the process of developing a home-based yoga practice that is very efficient. So we know that new moms have physical needs for sure. The body has just gone from pregnant to not pregnant within uh, a very short period of time, hopefully on the shorter side, labor and delivery. And so we have the physical needs of realigning the spine, of drawing the expanded body into a more compact version of itself. And so the postpartum yoga therapy practices focus very much on restoring the, I want to say, the compactness of the body, and realigning the spine, including the pelvic floor, including getting all of the abdominal organs back into a nice, firm location within the lower body. However, we're also looking to have a daily mind based practice that helps us to self-regulate. And so it's very much anchored on the breathing. So the practices are very breath centered, but we're working on the breath, we're working on the body, we're working on the mind, and also we're working on the emotions. So all of the tools of yoga exist, and we apply them to the new mother. And so each class will progress. It's a 6-week course that begins on February 1st. It happens on Tuesdays from 11 to 11:45 a.m. And you will receive a practice in the class. Suzanne's going to come in and give a talk in the first class, which I'm really looking forward to. And that practice, I will email it to you. So you get to go home and do it every day. And over the 6 week period of time, my goal is to establish you in a home based practice that can carry you through this early phase of new motherhood. And bonus, you don't have to leave your baby home and find childcare. So as long as your baby is up through the crawling stage, so this will probably be somewhere within the first year postpartum is generally what we see. Then you're welcome to bring the baby with you. But I do want to emphasize that this class is not a mommy and me class. I am not a person who has ever been interested in teaching mommy and me. Or taught mommy and me. So this is yoga for moms. Your baby will be there. You tend to your baby, love your baby throughout whenever your baby needs love. But this is for your own physical, mental, emotional health. So it's, you play with the baby. You can have other recreational type of activities you do with the baby. But this is really for you to go inside, restructure, um, whatever kind of chaotic experience that you'll inevitably be having. So much to remember, so much to keep track of, right, Suzanne?
Yep.
And that's, I think, where
The
you
mental
come in
load.
from our
Yeah.
conversations. Like, you can be such an asset with regards to the mental load of keeping track of all of the tasks that need to be done. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, OTs definitely help with that. I just want to go back to for a minute and say that I wish I had that grounding practice, because you go from being pregnant to birthing a child, and then you're birthing a new identity, and you feel so lost and you feel so not grounded, that I wish I had that practice
Yes.
to you know wrap my mind around my body and just connect. So I think that's amazing. We are so stuck in our mind when we become a mom that we forget about our body, and they're just so connected in terms of like stress, how it affects the body. So to have that practice is amazing. OTs definitely help with the mental load. I would say that's a big bulk of what I do, especially with moms that are really struggling with depression or anxiety. Sometimes the depression or anxiety can be so bad that you feel paralyzed, even doing the smallest things. What am I going to feed my family today? How am I going to get to the grocery store with the baby? Should I just order online? Everything that was really easy and just part of your day becomes very hard. And then you're like, why is this so hard? I'm just making dinner. But when you're in that state and when you have another human to take care of, these tasks become really difficult. So that's where OTs come in, and we really troubleshoot and we adapt your normal routines that you're used to your new role, new life. And we come up with some of the moms, I ask them like the craziest questions, and I'm like, I'm going to ask you a lot of details. You're going to think, why is this related at all? But we really ask every detail. I want to know about like what happens when you wake up. What's the first thing you do? What is your grocery shopping experience like? How do you get your groceries? What are you going to do now that you don't want to take your baby out to the grocery store? So yes, we help with that. Diapers, wipes, all the, bottles, formula. What else do you need to make sure you have in your house? Let's set up some systems, because you need to focus on you right now and your baby, and you can't put any mental energy into this. So I think probably back in the day, you had a village of women around you that brought all that stuff to your house and you didn't have to think about it. But unfortunately, today we're really isolated, especially during COVID. So I work with moms to come up with these systems, and some of it might seem like common sense, but when you're in that new mom state and you are anxious and you're depressed and you're not sleeping, you can't think about common sense things. Is just stuff that I know as an occupational therapist. and women don't know it's out there. And I can also do a lot of referrals, which I like. I kind of think I'm like the first step in the postpartum. You know, you could really use some grounding with your body. Why don't you go see Danielle? You are having trouble breastfeeding. Let me refer you to this lactation consultant. You know, like, I think some women don't know there's lactation consultants. They just think it's going to come naturally.
Mm.
Um, you're having this type of pain in your pelvic floor, you need to go see this person. You're having intrusive thoughts and it might be like bordering on OCD, you need to talk to the psychiatrist. So I'm really able to screen for all that stuff, and I know where to refer moms. So I really just like being their person, you know, and then I don't stay with moms that long. You know, I'm there for like maybe the first few months, but I want to just get them set up and get them to the people they need to be with for longer term. If they need to be in talk therapy, CBT, they need to go to yoga once a week to really work on their core and work on grounding themselves. So yeah, so that's really the bulk of what I do, and a lot of it comes from personal experience. You know, I was just blown away. I thought when I gave birth, I reached the finish line. I conceived a baby, and now the baby's born, and I'm done. But I didn't realize that I had only just started. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm really getting a sense from this conversation of our involvement and integral part of this village that we're building here in Long Island. It's so it just feels right at this point in time that women having a village is the next step as we shift paradigms. And the fact that if somebody is struggling in one way or another, we have each other to consult with and to refer has been such a boon for so many women
yeah,
lately. And I think that we all share this, and it's from our own personal experiences because we're not really choosing to do this work. It's calling us, right? So we
it really
share
is.
from our personal experiences this passion for being present and available to women during, and I know you do other work, you're specializing in the postpartum period, but for women through all stages of life. And we need it because every stage is accompanied by a new set of responsibilities that we have not had before, or if we've had them before, we were in a different place when we had them. And
Mhm.
so, we might not have our aunties or our moms who've experienced that much support, or our grandmothers to be preparing us and to be present for us during these times. So we've really we've really struggled to get to this point, and now we're here, and it just feels life affirming, like woman life affirming
Yeah,
to have this opportunity to be together for this work. And I think you touched on something that is so integral, which is that early motherhood, the baby tends to be the focus. And what I've actually vowed to do when I became a mom was to take care of myself and not neglect my own needs. And it's a struggle for me. I mean, I come from
yeah,
a pretty traditional Italian American family. And so moms, they give up their self care completely for the most part to cater to their family.
yeah. And part of what OTs like to do is really focus on the leisure activities and the activities that bring you joy or get you into
Mm,
that flow state.
yeah.
And when you are scheduling your day, your week, those are just as important as the grocery shopping, as, you know, the any other appointment. It's just as important that you schedule in time for you. And it might be 5 minutes when you first start as a mom. And then in a month, it's 30 minutes. And, but it's not, it's usually the thing that is on the to-do list that gets forgotten about, but we are really big on scheduling it in and prioritizing it as
Mm.
much as any other appointment you have or work task.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I shifted from just doing postpartum yoga courses to specifically postpartum yoga therapy courses, which doesn't mean you're coming, you are an occupational therapist. I am a yoga therapist. We have other colleagues who are physical therapists. We all do a completely different type of work that's based on certain paradigms. That doesn't mean you're coming in for psychotherapy. I just want to sort of destigmatize this word of therapy,
Yeah.
because I think that people can block out an entire modality because they don't want to have anything to do with therapy as they know it. So no one's coming in here and getting psychoanalyzed by me. I
Right.
have certain systems and they're very, very ancient. And so the lens that I use when I observe and I assess the care seekers that come to me, which I will do to each and every woman who comes into this course, you get a 15-minute assessment. Assessments for one-on-one are usually much longer, but I want to know who you are.
Yeah.
I want to know what your physical and mental and emotional health needs are before I go into the class. So some classes are exclusively, I'm working with women who maybe have in postpartum, they have back pain or neck pain or numbness. Other classes are largely women who are experiencing depression, and others are a mixture of all of these things so that I can individualize as best as possible. We do a brief intake because this is not a one size fits all practice. But why I chose to do the groups in this way is because yoga doesn't work if you just dip your toe in it. And then maybe you might deduce that yoga doesn't work or yoga is not effective. It's meant to be a daily practice. It's meant to be a daily ritual that you do that evolves over time. So my thought is also when this class is over that women will continue practicing yoga, and I'm here to guide you through the process because you will not be the same at 3 months postpartum that you are at 6 months postpartum, that you are at 1 year postpartum, that you are, maybe now in a fertility stage and trying to have another baby. It will always shift and change, but
Right.
the absence of a daily practice makes yoga more of a hobby. Makes yoga a hobby, the absence of daily practice. The presence of daily practice makes it a lifestyle. And so that's what I do, is I really set people on the path of yoga for life. And that's what I hope to do in our course, in our future courses, with your support. But with regards to this idea of therapy and occupational, I think maybe people think that this is occupational therapy is a way to help people be better at their jobs.
That's what I thought before I
Yeah.
figured it out. That's what I wanted to do with my life. Totally. I know. There's not enough education out there for sure. And then there's also the stigma.
Yes. All right. So let's keep having this conversation going forward. And it was such a joy.
Yeah. I look
Thank
forward to
you.
next week for sure.
Yes. Thank you so much. And so
All
if
right.
you would like to register for this course, you can go to yoga-foundation.com. The link is in the bio on Instagram, and I'll put it in the comments on Facebook. And the registration information is there. And once you register, I'll be in touch with you about setting up an intake so that we can support you through this process. And that's where you can find me. And Suzanne, where can we find you?
I am Suzanne Cohen Maternal Support. So you can Google that, or I'm scmaternalsupport.com, and all my social media stuff is on the website too.
Okay, that's excellent. Thank you so much for doing this, and I will
Thank
talk to you,
you.
see you soon.
All right.
Take
Bye.
care.